Hey guys, Boogs here. Today I have another Armour brief. Thank you for your interest in the last video. There was some very nice discussion in the comments. With that being said, we can get started on the next vehicle you guys have chosen. With yet another decisive victory on our poll, today I bring you the BMP-2. Well, actually, I'm going to be talking about both the BMP-1 and the BMP-2 in this episode, similarly to how I structured the FV520 CTAS video. So let's just crack on. The BMP-2 is a result of a requirement to replace or upgrade the old BMP-1s of the 1960s. The main focus of the upgrade was to improve the main gun of the BMP-1. Even though this main gun, the 2A28 Grom, was revolutionary at the time, it quickly became obsolete. During the Yom Kippur War, the BMP-1 was found to be vulnerable to 50 caliber fire to the sides and rear. Along with this, the 73mm main gun was inaccurate beyond 500 meters, and the 83 Saga missiles could not be guided well from within the confines of the small turret. After the war, Soviet teams were sent to investigate and learn how to improve the vehicle. The first improvements came with the 1974 BMP-1P upgrade. This brought the addition of smoke grenade launchers to the turret and replaced the 83 missile with a semi-automatically guided 84 Spigot or 85 Spandrel missile. In the 80s, existing BMP-1s were upgraded to this variant as a stopgap while the new BMP-2 began rolling into service. Although pretty similar, there are a few main differences between the BMP-1 and BMP-2. First, the BMP-1 had the driver and commander sat in line with each other, with a commander behind the driver. This meant that if the vehicle hit an anti-tank mine on the left side, it could potentially kill both of these crew members. The BMP-2 design changed this by having the commander now sit inside the turret with the gunner and gave all crew armoured seats. Next, the main gun was changed to the 2A42 30mm autocannon instead of the manually reloaded 73mm 2A28 cannon. As mentioned, the ATGM was replaced with the 9M113 Conquer system. The BMP-2 also brought about slightly improved armour to address the vulnerability to 50 caliber fire. The BMP-1 and 2 have identical chassis but different powertrains. However, the BMP-2 is slightly heavier, which gives them very similar road performance. The BMP-1 uses a 300 horsepower UTD-20 diesel engine that gives a top speed of 65 km per hour on the road and an operational range of 600 km, whereas the BMP-2 uses a similarly powered but much newer 300 horsepower UTD-20/3 engine with an identical operational range. Now the history is done, let's jump into the in-game experience in both of these vehicles. The driver in the BMP-1 and 2 both have the same environment and systems to monitor. Both vehicles have a health pool of 1250 HP, which makes them quite weak in comparison to other vehicles of its class, such as the Bradley and FV520 CTAS. More similarities come in the form of the handling and speed, which is identical due to them both having the same chassis. As mentioned, even though the BMP-2 has a newer engine, it is slightly heavier and so any performance gains are mitigated. As mentioned, this will allow the driver to go up to a speed of 65 km an hour, but as with all vehicles, this could be higher under perfect conditions. Handling wise, both BMPs are the same and both are rather nimble, but as is the case with most Russian vehicles, the reverse speed is not that high. If we look at the hitbox image for the BMP, then we can see that from the front, the engine, which is green, obscures the ammo rack. This can help prevent lats from hitting it from the front, but won't stop AP rounds or tandem rounds. From the sides and rear, the BMP can be penetrated easily by LATs. Along with this, the low health pool makes it a very squishy vehicle that is best played at range, where it becomes difficult for LATs to hit you. It also means that the BMP is best suited to a very active playdown. You don't want to be sat anywhere for long enough for a pesky anti-tank to crawl up and hit you. The gunner in the BMP-1 has a 73mm 2A28 Grom cannon to use for his primary. With this, there is a choice of two ammunition types. They can use 24 high explosive anti-tanks and 16 fragmentation rounds. Additionally, the gunner can fire up to 4 Malyutka P high explosive anti-tank manually guided rockets. The main gun has a reload time of 7.3 seconds, and the tow missiles take 12 seconds to reload. The turret also takes 18 seconds to do a full 360-degree rotation. The secondary armament consists of a 7.62mm PKT coaxial machine gun with 8 250 round boxes, meaning you will also have to reload this gun at some point. The only BMP-1 with a stabilizer is that played on the MEA faction. Also, the only gun the BMP-1 can use in close quarters is the PKT machine gun, as both the 73mm shells and the ATGMs have a minimum arming distance. The BMP-2, though, has a large upgrade to its main gun. It instead uses the 2A 4.2 30mm autocannon. This gun can fire armor-piercing ballistic capped tracer rounds and high-explosive tracer rounds at a rate of 300 rounds per minute. It has 160 armor-piercing and 340 high-explosive rounds to use. In addition to this, it can fire up to 4 Conker's ATGMs. This main gun does not have to be reloaded. However, the ATGMs take 12 seconds to reload. Also, this 30mm gun does not have a minimum arming range, so you can kill any ATs or any sappers that decide to sneak up and try and climb on top of you. Now, this reload on the ATGMs is much longer than the Bradley's 2 seconds. However, the Bradley only has 2 tows, whereas, as said, the BMP has 4. Now, the turret rotation speed on the BMP-2 is significantly faster than the BMP-1 at 7.5 seconds, and the gunner has a secondary armament on the BMP-2, which is the same as the BMP-1, but this has 2,000 rounds of ammo and does not need to be reloaded. The next seat available in both BMPs is a commander. In the BMP-1, the commander sits on the left of the vehicle behind the driver. He has an unstabilized periscope to use, and that's pretty much it. On the BMP-2, however, this periscope is stabilized and the commander sits on the right side of the turret. This gives him much better visibility to the rear, but the Conker's tube on the left side of the turret blocks visibility for the commander. As an IFV, the BMP is capable of carrying infantry in the back. The BMP-1 can carry 8 passengers, while the BMP-2 can only carry 7. Although the BMP can carry these troops, its weak armour and low health pool makes it worse at the job than the Bradley. It should not be used to push troops straight into an active point, as this is often suicide. It could, however, be useful to carry a team of high-explosive anti-tanks and LATs that can support the BMP in anti-armour engagements. This can reduce the time to kill other vehicles and give the BMP a chance to pull through with minimal damage. So now let's just pull all of this together into a more meaningful conclusion. Overall, the BMP-1 is not the best IFV you can play. The fact that it has such a small health pool and such a slow reloading cannon makes it almost useless to play as a proper infantry support on active points. It is best played at medium range, where you can shell the enemy with high explosive and frags. It is also suited to fighting lightly armoured vehicles such as BTRs and Strikers. The fact that it has a tow missile gives it the ability to deal with some damage to MBTs, but if spotted by one, it's bye-bye BMP. This is where the manoeuvrability comes in. It should be played very actively and moved around the battlefield as to not be spotted and hunted by enemy anti-tanks or MBTs. All this being said though, played correctly, the BMP-1 can be a very fun vehicle indeed, and is very rewarding when you start dealing out the pain, as with all lower class insurgent and militia guns. Now the BMP-2 on the other hand is a very good all-rounded vehicle. Its low health pool aside, it excels at anti-infantry and has a large amount of high explosive to aid this. If we include the ATGMs the BMP-2 possesses, then it also makes the BMP capable of taking on more heavily armoured vehicles. Since it does have weak armour and low health though, taking on a tank should be done with the element of surprise, because unlike the Bradley, the BMP-2 takes a long time to reload these ATGMs. And with that, we're done. Thanks much for watching folks. As always, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already done so. Do let us know what you thought in the comments down below, as always. The poll for the next video will be live not long after this video goes up, and so please do go vote for what you want to see next. The link for this will be in the description and the comments. Take care folks, Books out.